What's up there? This is Cody the Coin Raptor coming at you with another Bitcoin episode. And in today's episode, I want to talk about the beginning of September because I am releasing this video on September 1st, 2024. And I want to talk about the September effect for Bitcoin. So, the September effect is known as, at least in the traditional markets, as one of the worst months for stocks. And similarly, Bitcoin tends to have a fairly poor September. In fact, if we take a look at our Bitcoin returns, we can see here that the average price action for September is actually a negative 4.5%. Okay, and then the median here is sitting at about almost the same. So the average for September is the worst among all the months. Normally, there have been only 3 green months in September, including last year. But even during some of the worst Septembers that Bitcoin has seen, it's only been down up to 13%, or in one case, up to 19%. Okay. Now, the reason why I say only is because Bitcoin is a volatile asset, and sometimes it goes down even more than that. I mean, just take a look at December. We've seen wild swings in December, minus 34% in December of 2013. And even in recent history, we saw some huge down days here, like, for instance, in 2021 for Bitcoin. So Bitcoin can come down quite a ways, all right? And it can go up quite a ways. But the simple fact is that the September effect is real for Bitcoin. And as much as we like to focus on the long term, at least on this channel, we also have to go ahead and take a look at what's going to be happening in the short term as well. Now, naturally, I weight the long term as more important, but I always want to discuss the short term. So, Bitcoin has been really just lackluster over the past, well, let's say 3 or 4 months. It's been a hot minute since we've seen Bitcoin actually break out or do anything exciting. For the most part, we've just seen it move sideways and completely unable to push above resistances at 63K and 66, and then near the top here at about 73,000. So Bitcoin has been kind of moving sideways for the past couple of months. Now we started to see Bitcoin come back down into this ultimate support band green box that I've talked about for the past couple of weeks. And this box is going to still play an important role in the month to come. Because I do believe that Bitcoin is going to come back down into the box and possibly go and touch the bottom of the box here, about 53K. Now, I don't think that Bitcoin is going to go lower than, say, about 50,000 or about 49,000. I don't think it's going to go under this support band right here. But I do think that we'll get a very nice opportunity to buy Bitcoin fairly cheap, somewhere in the mid 50s range. And Bitcoin right now has not really even shown that it's able to hold even the most basic of support levels. But I do think that at the end of the day, this 50K support region is going to hold. We saw Bitcoin come down to this level back on the 5th of August during that panic dump, a massive volume spike right here. But I don't think that we're going to see Bitcoin go under this level. I think that this is probably a fairly safe bet. And so if Bitcoin actually comes back into this green box and hopefully towards the end of the green box, I'm actually going to be looking into buying some additional Bitcoin, either Bitcoin or IBIT, and buying preferably around 53, 54K, somewhere in that range, maybe 55 if Bitcoin goes that low. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at, speaking of IBIT, the Bitcoin inflows and outflows for spot ETFs. So the last couple of days, we've seen outflows for the Bitcoin spot ETFs, including on the 29th, in which we saw an outflow of $175 million. Now, that's actually pretty sizable. The last time we had something even anywhere close to that was back during the 1st of August. So we've seen some pretty sizable outflows. But so far, nothing really that concerns me. Now, we have to also realize that one of the reasons why Bitcoin is down So much is been because of the Mt. Gox redistributions. That's still ongoing. We're still sitting at about $2.6 billion worth of their balance for Mt. Gox. So this is something I'm going to be watching closely to see if we can actually see if that number draws down and pays out those redistributions. So, and the next thing I want to talk about is the general fear of the market. So Bitcoin's been down quite a bit, but if you go ahead and take a look at other altcoins such as Ethereum, you can see that Ethereum's also been down quite a bit, sitting at about 2,400, and that's really not all. I mean, you take a look at Solana. Solana's also down significantly from its highs. One thing we've seen here, and especially if you take a look at Bitcoin dominance, you've seen the flight of safety from traders from the altcoins such as Ethereum and Solana to Bitcoin in stores of safety. If we take a look at the total stablecoin market cap, for instance, we can see here that over the last 3 months, it's seen an explosive rise from about $157 billion from the market cap all the way up to $163 billion in a short period. Now, what this means is that the traders right now are undergoing a big rotation. They're moving their money from a lot of the altcoins. In fact, if we take a look at our altcoin market cap during the same time, you guys can see what I'm talking about. They're moving a lot of their money from the altcoins and instead buying stable coins, okay, or buying Bitcoin even. And this is obvious if you take a look at the Bitcoin dominance. You see this kind of go up here from about 54% up to about 57%. So right now you have significant fear in the market, enough to make people go and sell their altcoins and buy stable coins and buy Bitcoin. And the reason for that is because there's been huge talk lately about there being a recession, or the fact that we're in the recession here in the U.S. That's definitely a possibility. But there's also the seasonality as well. As I discussed before, the returns for September usually are not very good. And usually as Bitcoin moves, the rest of the market tends to move when it comes to crypto. So that's something else that we're starting to see with this. Now, this panic in the market, or this overall down feeling in the market, is also borne out by the Bitcoin options as well. So we have Bitcoin options set for the largest amount was set for expiry on the 27th of September. And right now, you're looking at some pretty hefty numbers. In fact, you're looking at the value of call options sitting at about 2.9 billion, and then the puts sitting at about 1.6 billion. The max pain price sitting at about 58,000 right now. So if you believe in the max pain theory, that means that prices are going to try to migrate towards the area in which it would cause the most pain for the options holders. And so that would be about 58,000. Okay, so if you remember, Bitcoin is sitting at about 58K right now. So traders are betting on the market to basically just trade sideways for the entirety of the month. Now, I don't think Bitcoin is going to be sideways the entire month, but I think that this is actually, I think, fairly conservative for these traders. That being said, there is a significant call options that expire at 90,000 strike price. I don't think we're going to come anywhere close to that. But I think that towards the end of the month, 58K, that's going to be an easy bet. I think that we'll be well north of 58K, maybe even probably stick next to 60, 61, 62, something around that region. And I think that even if Bitcoin does go lower, I still don't think that we're going to move under that 50K support level for September. Now, this is all really important to understand, to put this all into context. This is a period of time in which, for me, is a fantastic opportunity for accumulation. Because as I said before, the monthly returns for September are terrible. But then you move into October, and you can see October is an explosive month. We tend to see September as the bottoming out of Bitcoin price. And then we tend to see October as the continuation of the bull market. In fact, October only has 2 red months in Bitcoin's history, with an average gain of over 20% and a median of over 27%. That's some pretty huge numbers for October. So my goal for this month is going to be to accumulate within this box as much as possible, and then we're going to see, I think, some fireworks, if not October, then December and November, and potentially even into next year for sure, Q1 next year. I think that Bitcoin's going to push well above this all-time high. And we're going to look back at this as a fantastic opportunity to accumulate Bitcoin. Now, another player that I've been looking at has been accumulating Bitcoin just tremendously. And in fact, we have our friend, the Whale Wallet, and Whale Wallet number 10. Whale Wallet number 10 has been buying Bitcoin like crazy. All right. So if you go down, you can take a look at all the transactions here for Whale Wallet number 10. All right. And if you guys are curious, this is the one labeled Mr. 100. That's the wallet name. So Mr. 100 has been buying Bitcoin like crazy. And in the last week, they've bought about 2,600 Bitcoin. 2,600 Bitcoin in the last week. So coming down here from about the 27th here all the way up to where we are right now and about the 1st. In this short period of time, they've bought 2,600 Bitcoin. And this whale is going to be buying Bitcoin like crazy, especially if we go into this box and further into the box. And if we approach 50K, this whale is going to be buying like crazy. So just as a heads up, okay, this whale has actually been pretty good at buying those dips and timing the dips and actually selling at higher prices and making money. And this whale, again, 2,600 Bitcoin, it's nothing to scoff at, nothing to laugh at. That's a massive amount of money. There probably are 10 people in the world who can afford to spend that kind of money on Bitcoin. So this guy, whoever he is, he's really a hardcore Bitcoin supporter, and he likes to buy the dip, all right? Now, the last thing I want to talk about is the exchange reserve, the number of Bitcoin on exchanges. So Bitcoin on exchanges continues to fall, even though we keep seeing bearish sentiment and warnings about recession and economic indicators being poor. Bitcoin continues to be bought up from the exchanges, all right? So we can see here, just in the past month alone, we've had a large drop from about 2,677,000 Bitcoin down to where it is right now at about 2,620,000 Bitcoin. So this is very interesting to just find out how many people are interested in buying Bitcoin and buying the dip. That being said, just because the exchange reserve is actually moving down doesn't mean that Bitcoin can't continue to fall. All it means is that demand for Bitcoin still remains strong, and we continue to see folks step in and buy the dip. All right, so let me know what you guys are going to do. If you guys are interested in buying this potential dip, or if you're just going to stay on the sidelines, you're going to wait for Bitcoin to actually come out of September and then preferably buy in October, leave a comment below, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.